Okay, it's recording now. Go ahead. This is a project intelligence platform that I worked out with ChatGPT, and this is a way to put your projects in as a project or a folder, but also as a intelligence platform that understands the whole project and
hmm
has all the information in it. Go ahead, Chat. You want to explain?
Sure. So here's a clean narration you can use live. Hello, and welcome to this demonstration of the Project Intelligence Platform, or PIP, for Fire Station 193. PIP's purpose is to connect drawings, specs, schedules, contracts, meeting minutes, daily logs, RFIs, submittals, photos, decisions, and risks into one living record. For this project, we started with subcontractor scopes for masonry, concrete, and demolition, plus the generator plan and customer package. Then we added schedules, then the generator plans, structural calcs, and the permit application to support coordination and tracking. The daily logs capture field reality. For example, a key early conversation with Demo 360 and city officials flagged a risk. Talk of starting demo before formal city pre-con. That becomes a documented risk tied to authorization and utility locating. As documents were reviewed, PIP updated for living records, project intelligence, risk register, project journal, and lessons learned. It also surfaced scope gaps like saw cutting conflicts, unassigned responsibilities in concrete and masonry bids, and special order material lead times. We organize it around a central project brain with clear buckets for drawing specs, RFIs, submittals, schedule, daily logs, minutes, photos, contracts, safety cost, closeouts. Right now, status is amber. Demolition dates are possible, but only if release gates like utility locates and city precon authorization are cleared. Immediate actions include locking those gates, getting signed scope clarifications, finalizing conduit route and CMU selection, and confirming asbestos survey, access, and contingency planning. And that's the heart of PIP. It doesn't just store files, it connects them to schedule, field activity, responsibilities, risks, open decisions, and recommended next steps.
Okay, that's great. Can you show us um, like a PDF form? Show us a form of the project buckets you call it, or folders, the topics that it can see. Can you show those?
One moment. I can't display a live PDF on your screen from here, but I can give you a clean one-page layout that you could drop into a PDF or show as a slide. Picture this. Title at the top, Project Intelligence Platform, Project Brain. Under that, list of 4 living records, Project Intelligence, Risk Register, Project Journal, Lessons Learned, plus Executive Summary and Source Review. Then, around that, list the connected categories: drawings, specs, RFIs, submittals, schedule, daily logs, meeting minutes, photos, contracts, soils reports, safety, cost, and closeouts. If you want a quick voiceover while showing that slide, try this. At the center is the project brain, where living records are continuously updated. Surrounding it are all major project categories, keeping everything connected and searchable. That might give people a clear visual without needing a system demo. If you want it tighter or more executive, just say.
Now explain the project brain a little bit. That's a little bit different than most people are used to a main folder with all the project information and
hmm
subfolders. This has a project brain. Can you explain that and how we put information into that? What information do we put in?
One moment. Yeah, that's a great point. And it's an important distinction to make. Think about it like this. A normal folder system is like a digital filing cabinet. It's very good for storage, but it doesn't understand what the files mean. The project brain is a layer on top of storage. When you add a document, the AI reads it, extracts key facts, links them to other facts, and updates the living project record. So, what goes in is just normal project stuff: specs, drawings, schedules, meeting minutes, and so on. But the brain turns all that into knowledge. It updates risks, milestones, open decisions, and action items as new info comes in. In short, folders answer where is the file. The project brain answers what do we know, what changed, what's at risk, and what should we do next.
Yeah, that's great. One thing, so we can ask the project brain questions like you mentioned the scope gap possibly. Can you explain what those items are?
Checking. Right. That's a great example. You could say something like, Project Brain, you mentioned scope gaps. Can you explain those? And it would pull together what it learned across all the proposals. So, for instance, there's a conflict around saw cutting in the demolition scope. And in the concrete proposal, responsibilities for things like anchors, embeds, testing, survey, permits, traffic control were left undefined. And the masonry proposal excluded engineering, shop drawings, permits, bracings, and finishes. The point is, instead of hunting through a stack of PDFs, the project brain summarizes the gaps, flags them as open issues, and prompts follow ups before work proceeds. You can ask it things like, what's the top risk? What's still unresolved with this subcontractor? Or what changed this week? That's the power of that brain metaphor.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So you'd also have a printable PDF, downloadable PDF that the user could download and send to other project associates or subcontractors even, or the boss to give him an update of what the project's doing, things like that, right?
Checking. Exactly, you've got it. You can ask the project brain to generate a clear, professional PDF report. You might say, Project Brain, generate an executive update for this week. And it can spit out a polished PDF with current status, recent progress, top risks, open decisions, needed actions, and coming milestones. That way, you're not chasing updates from 6 different people. You're sharing a single, consistent source of truth, ready to download and send to anyone on the team.
That's great. Now, so say a superintendent in the field, how can he use this? He can do a daily log just by verbally speaking into this project intelligence platform for this project, and then explain, say, I want to do a daily log and just start telling you where he's at, upload pictures. You can help describe those pictures, and
Mm,
also you can spot things, so possible safety issues in the photos. So guy's not tied off,
mhm.
or there's something that just doesn't look right. It's not per the JHA. If that project requires those, and you can bring those up, right?
Checking. Yeah, that's actually a powerful use case. For the demo, you could say something like, one of the most important users is the field superintendent. At the end of the day, they can just start a daily log by speaking naturally. Here's what we got done, here were the crews, here's the weather, here were the issues, here's what's planned for tomorrow. And that becomes a structured daily report. Then photos can be added and described and linked to activities. The system can also flag things that might warrant a second look, just as prompts for review. But the big value is that those logs and photos just feed the project brain. So later you can query across them, find all entries tied to a certain activity, date, or location. And the soup is not doing extra paperwork. They're just talking through the day and capturing photos as they normally would anyway. The system does the structuring and connecting. So the demo messages, the superintendent isn't doing admin, they're strengthening the project brain just by telling the story of the day.
Yeah, great. Also RFI, say superintendent has an RFI. How he should do that, I believe, is just explain to you that he has the project intelligence platform, the PIP, that he has an issue with say the architectural plan disagrees with the structural plan and what he should do for that particular item. Now, you can help write the RFI, right?
Checking. Yes, that's a great demo moment. You could say, another superpower of the project brain is helping draft RFIs. So, for example, the super says, I need an RFI. The architectural sheet shows this, but the structural shows that. Which one governs? Then the system can pull up the related sheets list, the spec sections, and draft a clear RFI description and question. It doesn't replace judgment or approval, but it saves time, keeps the language sharp, and ties that RFI to the affected documents and risks. So the message for your video is it's not just about storage, it's about reducing friction in the field, making it easy to ask the right question, document it well, and move the job forward.
It's good. I doubt if I'm going to separate certain things for the video. I like to have this conversation that this is part of the video, is that people can see how I'm interacting with you to develop this and explain it. So this is useful to show how simple it is to use, non-technical. I'm a non-technical person interacting with AI and a sophisticated project with good details and methods and analyzation of, if that's a word, of the project. So, what else? The project, for the project, let's do a master schedule based on our key milestones. We know the end date. Can you do that? And show also, we want to make sure we list procurement items because more and more procurement really affects projects, the outcome, because some things take a long time to get nowadays. Electrical gear,
Mm.
elevators, windows, stuff like that. Hollow metal frames never seem to be on site when you need them. And would you be able to do a master schedule and show all those items with also you've seen the schedule that I uploaded into this project. So you can fine tune that and add to it, right?
Checking. Absolutely. That's one of the most compelling parts to show. You could say something like, we can hand the project brain our baseline schedule, and it helps refine it by tracking long lead procurement items. It can flag things like electrical gear or generators, hollow metal frames, elevators, windows, anything with long lead times, and roll them into the master schedule so you're not caught out waiting on something critical. Then it can cross check milestones against what's coming out of the documents and field updates and suggest any missing steps or decision gates. So for the video, the punchline is it's not just a list of dates. It's an intelligent planning assistant that keeps procurement, decisions, and field realities connected. That keeps everyone looking ahead, not scrambling behind.
Yeah, I liked how when I had you do the scope of work for the trades on this particular
Hmm.
project, you listed the scope of work and also things they needed to get. So when we would send them the scope to subcontract, they'd have the scope of
Hmm.
work. You also had seen their proposal letter and their scope. So we knew
Yeah.
what they were proposing and we knew what was on our plans. You could compare that to see if there's any gaps there. Then you listed submittals that they needed to do right away.
Hmm.
And so on that sheet for that trade of the scope of work, you had many things on there. And we didn't include all that in our subcontract. We just included the scope of work, but the rest of it could be put in a memo or an email to the subcontractor saying, here's more information, project information that you need to read through, and this will help you see when you need to have these submittals by. So that was a big picture sheet of the project. They didn't necessarily want to have it in subcontract, but it's a great thing to send to them just as a memo, read through part of the project
Checking.
requirements. Really.
I think that's a really strong point to highlight. You can say something in your video like, Beyond the subcontract itself, the project brain creates a full project briefing for each trade. The subcontract stays clean, just the legal scope, but the briefing includes a summary of their scope, proposal comparison, required submittals with target dates, long lead procurement items, key milestones, coordination notes, and any known risks or RFIs. That gives the subcontractor a full picture right up front. It reduces miscommunication and helps prevent scope disputes or missed submittals down the line. It's like every trade gets a tailored project roadmap. That concept, giving each sub a clear project brief, that's unique. And it's a strong finish for your story of how the system supports the whole project, not just the paperwork.
Yeah, so this project information platform can really be or incorporate our edge scope control three-phase methodology from marketing, the full cycle of the project, from marketing, pre-con, bidding, subcontracting, uh,
One
and
minute.
buyout.
That's
Um,
exactly right. And it's a strong way to position it. You could say that the project intelligence platform supports the full edge scope control three-phase methodology. In marketing, it could help organize opportunities, risk, and early budgets. In pre-con, it helps develop scopes, compare proposals, plan procurement, prepare RFIs and schedules. Then, in construction, it keeps learning through daily logs, RFIs, submittals, changes, and field data. And the key idea is that it's one continuous brain, not a bunch of disconnected phases. What you learn early feeds decisions later. Your methodology is still the backbone. The project brain just carries the memory, the analysis, and the communication across all those phases. So you're showing continuity from start to finish, one source of intelligence across the project lifecycle.
okay, I think that's good for this video.
Okay. Sounds like you've got a strong demo. You've shown how a very normal conversation can produce structured, useful project outputs. And you've also emphasized that this isn't about being technical, it's about making your process easier and more consistent. I'd wrap with a simple line like, the project intelligence platform doesn't replace people, it gives them clarity, continuity, and confidence across the whole project. I think showing this conversation was a really smart call too. It makes the whole thing feel human and accessible. If you can talk through a problem, you can use the platform. I think that's the message to leave them with.
I think so too. Thank you very much.
No problem. Happy to help. And honestly, really cool to see the way you shaped this demo. If you want to make more of these, you might eventually consider different cuts for different audiences. Maybe one for PMs, one for supers, one for the executives. But this was a strong start. And I love the Project Brain name. Good luck with recording. Sounds like you've got something really promising there.